Hey folks, how's it going? Antonio Fletcher back with you once again with another video. So I got a response from an atheist named Essence of Thought. I took a look at his video and once again, I heard from it the usual flawed responses I hear from a lot of atheists. But what was even more interesting though is that although his video is around 14 minutes long, he actually conceded my argument knowingly or unknowingly in less than a minute in. Let's get into the video and find out why. Okay, so in my last video, I asked a question to atheists. My question was asking them if God is as evil as they say, then why not send us to hell from the start? For as evil as atheists say God is, he can be worse.
Well, I guess it's only fair to offer my own response to your question. The character of God described in your holy text is evil based on the principle that I hold to, which is that unnecessary pain and suffering inflicted upon others is evil.
Listen very carefully to what he says. His argument that God is evil is based upon the principle that he holds to, that unnecessary pain and suffering inflicted upon others is evil. He said that he holds to. Emphasis on he holds to. I'll say it one more time. What he holds to. Now, I don't know if he realizes it or not, but he literally conceded to my argument less than a minute into his video response. Nothing else he says after this matters because his position of evil is necessarily predicated on one of three things. 1. His personal view. 2. Conventions of humankind. 3. A combination of the above. No matter which of these are the basis of his argument results in nothing more than arbitrary reasoning, in which case he cannot even get his position off the ground. For example, a little later in his video, he mentions God killing the firstborns in Egypt during Pharaoh's rule in the time of Moses. He remarked that God killing the prisoner in the dungeon's firstborn son had no connections to the dealings of Pharaoh or Moses, thus shows that such was unnecessary, and thus showing that God is evil. However, what's defined as necessary versus unnecessary is totally arbitrary given his worldview. For example, in 2013, he gave his pro-choice response to a YouTuber named State of Daniel. I have to make a few minor points here to build onto my major point here, so please bear with me. He believes that at least the early stages of pregnancy, women should decide what's best for their lives in regards to their pregnancy. From my experience with atheists, it appears many of them identify as pro-choice, but there are those who identify as pro-life as well. What's my point in mentioning this? Well, my point is you can have atheists arguing abortion isn't wrong, and other atheists arguing abortion is wrong. At least part of his argument is predicated on when the unborn can feel pain, but does that part hold any merit? What about other atheists who would say that pain/lack thereof isn't an argument? All these minor points that I mentioned goes into my major point. Please don't misunderstand my intent here. It isn't to make this into a pro-life versus pro-choice video. I'm bringing these issues up for a reason. My major point here is that if he is going to say unnecessary pain and suffering inflicted upon others is evil, then first of all, how is he defining suffering? Physical, mental, emotional, all three? Why argue that any of these definitions, whether independently argued or argued as a combination, define what evil is if done unnecessarily? Who is to say that suffering should even be an element at all? Why not argue that killing the unborn earlier in pregnancy is an unjust killing, an unnecessary evil? Even if it could be shown there is no suffering felt early in pregnancy, as even pro-life atheists have argued. Why should unnecessary suffering define evil rather than unnecessary killing, regardless of whether suffering is felt in the killing or not? Then again, as the pro-choice person, he thinks only women, at least in the earlier stages of pregnancy, can define whether killing is necessary and unnecessary for them. His position is totally arbitrary because he isn't arguing what is necessary versus unnecessary. He is simply arguing his opinion, nothing more. He hasn't proven that God is evil. Rather, he's proven that he simply arbitrarily places his demarcation line at what he subjectively claims is evil by way of what he argues is unnecessary suffering. He has no way of proving God is evil. From the atheist perspective, why is it that we have other atheists placing the demarcation line in other places even without suffering being a factor, such as in the abortion debate? Yet he places it as at suffering being a factor, then arbitrarily using that as grounds to say what is unnecessary. Again, his line falls under one of the 3 points I mentioned earlier in the video, which were 1. His personal view, 2. Conventions of humankind, 3. A combination of the above. As a result, he has knowingly or unknowingly conceded my argument and thus debunked his entire foundation. There's really nothing more to say. Ooh. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care. God bless, and peace.